we go. Good evening, everybody. I'm not quite sure whether you can see me or not. Could you give me a hashtag live if you can see me, and let me know where you're logging in from this evening. I'm not sure how much of those technical issues you could see, but I'm not very good, obviously, with the technology. It's my first live, so I'd like to welcome you to this new group. I'm Joanne Jones. I'm a speech and language therapist and have been for the last 20 years, and I am setting up this group because I am on a big mission. I am on a mission to help parents of children with speech, language and communication difficulties online, and provide you with all the tools and the empowerment that you need to help your children day to day. So I have been hanging out in a few groups, having a look at what the main concerns are that people have with their child. And one of the things that's come up a lot today is about early interaction and getting that early interaction with children. And so I thought that I would come on and just talk to you about that and about ways that you can help. So I'm going to get straight in. If you're logging on, let me know that you're here, hashtag live, and let me know where you're logging in from. And if you're watching on replay, hashtag replay, and that'll just help me to see when people are watching these videos and where from, so that'll be great. So I've got some notes here, so if you see me looking down, I'm just kind of checking out my notes. So I'm going to talk about very early interaction. So for those children that are difficult to get interaction from, who seem to be what we call on their own agenda, they're very happy in their own world, but getting them to play with us and to enjoy being with us is really difficult. And that happens for lots of children with speech and language difficulties. So I think this is really going to be quite appropriate for lots of people. So I'm not sure whether you've heard of intensive interaction. Dave Hewlett is someone who devised this whilst working with children with quite significant needs, but it's really handy for children with all sorts of difficulties, and actually for children without difficulties as well. You know, I've used it with my children in the past. So it's for the pre-communication bit, so the bit really before they're talking maybe, or when they're just starting talking. And what's really great about it is it takes all the pressure off the child. It's about fun, and it's about the child being who they are and us joining them with where they're up to. So it's not about making them do anything, it's not about showing flashcards or getting them to do what we want. It's about us following their own agenda. And it helps you to make really good connections with your children. Sometimes when you've got a child with speech and language difficulties, it can be really difficult to feel connected to them. You know, you feel like you're battling to do that. So this is a really great tool to have in your toolkit to help you. You don't need any equipment, you don't need anything special, you just need you and your child, and between you can do this intervention. It can work alongside other things that you're doing. It's not one of those things that you have to do solely on your own. So you can use it with anyone. So I'm going to give you 6 steps to doing this intensive interaction or child-led speech and language therapy. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to sit and watch your child. You're not going to speak, you're not going to say anything, you're not going to suggest anything. You're just going to sit really quietly alongside your child and watch what they're doing. And just be there and spend a whole 10 minutes, no phone, no camera, no phones ringing, no text messaging, just totally focused on your child, and just sit very quietly and listen to what they're doing and what they're playing with. And from that, the second point is maybe to make some notes. So make some notes about what your child is doing. What do they like? What do they focus on? What grabs their attention? What's the thing that they like doing the most? What things don't they like doing? What things do they get bored with very easily? What things do they move on from? What do they go back to? What noises do they make? What eye contact do they give? What are they looking at? So make notes about all those points in a notebook so that you've got those to look back on later. The third point is to sit nearer to your child. So go nearer and get on eye level with them, and just watch them eye to eye. And the next thing you're going to do is you're going to copy. So just copy whatever your child does. If your child looks up, you look up too. If your child's got a toy and you're banging it, you bang it too. If your child's making vocalizers, they might not be words, but they might be sounds, copy the sound. They do it, you do it. They do it, you do it. Everything they do, you copy. If the child gets up and walks around, get up and follow them and walk around. And it's really amazing how quickly your child realises that something's a bit different. This is not normally what happens. This is not normally how people interact with me. People are normally talking to me and asking me to do things and asking me questions or trying to input language and they really notice that suddenly they're in control and they're the ones doing the leading and that you're the follower. And you'll find, maybe not on the first go, maybe not in the first week of doing it, but you'll find that what your child starts to do is test it out a little bit. They'll start to do things to see whether you copy them. They'll start to do something and look at you and see whether you're going to do it too. And what you're doing in this connection is you're teaching your child that you're there, you want to be with them, you want to be interested in their world, you want to connect with them, and there's no pressure from you. But the other really important thing that this teaches children is how to copy. So you're teaching them that copying is a really good thing to do. So you're copying them is saying and sending a really strong message out of copying is brilliant, copying is really good. And so that's going to help later down the line. And then what you can do is to build up the time that you're doing this for. You might do it for 5 or 10 minutes rather than the first kind of couple of minutes that you started with. And what will happen is that what your child's doing gets more complicated and more interesting, because when you give children a gap where you're not asking anything from them, they've got that freedom to explore. And what you'll find is that your child will start to do things that perhaps they haven't done before. And again, just copy with no expectation. And I wouldn't add any language, I wouldn't say anything, I would only copy their vocalizations. And then the sixth point is you start to add something. So they do something and then you add a little extra. You add a funny thing. They're banging the car on the table, you pick the car up and put it on your head. Or they're making a sound and you turn it into another sound. And see how the child reacts to that, how your child reacts. And it might be that because you've been doing this copying for days or weeks, that the child then will copy you back, and suddenly you've got turn taking. Turn taking is developing. So you're not just having to work really hard to get that connection with your child's noticed you and is there with you, and you've got this reciprocal turn taking, which is absolutely fundamental to language. I think what happens sometimes is because we're so desperate to get our children to talk that actually we feel a pressure on ourselves and we do lots and lots of strategies to do that. And those strategies are often very directive. So we're asking questions, we're asking them to do things, and asking them what things are, we're asking them to put this here or put that there. And that limits the amount of space that children have got in that interaction to take their part in it. And these children innately are finding communication and language and interaction difficult, and then we're making that interaction false in a way because we're desperately trying to kind of pull language from them. So give it a go, come back and let us know how you've got on. I'd love to see any videos, send me some videos of you doing this. I would be more than happy to kind of give you a comment or give you some tips as to how you're doing it, or show you the bits that you're doing really well. That would be no problem at all. But come back and let us know how it is, because this I find is one of the most powerful tools that you can use with children with those early interaction difficulties. And I've worked with children with complex needs for 20 years and I love it. I love doing this because suddenly you've opened up that channel of communication that wasn't there before, and children respond really well. Thank you for watching. Sorry about the technical difficulties. This is my first live, but there's going to be many. Every Tuesday evening, 8 o'clock, on this page there will be a live about strategies to help your child's early language development. So come back next week. Tuesday in the day is available for asking me questions. Post on my page, message me any questions that you might have, and I can address them in the lives, or I will address them individually to you. I'm here to help, and I know how difficult it is having children with difficulties with communication. It really is tough. So yeah, let's get this conversation going and let me help you. Thanks very much for coming. See you soon. Bye bye.